Canadian politicians, astronauts, and leaders are remembering the extraordinary life and career of Marc Garneau. He passed away at the age of 76. He was Canada's first astronaut in space in 1984. He would later complete 2 more space missions before becoming the head of the Canadian Space Agency. And then he launched a career in federal politics when he became an MP in 2008. Here to chat a little bit more about his career on the Hill and his legacy now, Scott Reid, CTV News political analyst. Good morning, Scott.
Hey, good morning.
Obviously, this is quite sad news. When did you first learn about the fact that Marc Garneau had died?
Last night. In fact, I was out having a drink with a friend of mine who's a scientist nonetheless and knew Marc Garneau through those fields. I had the pleasure of knowing Mr. Garneau through political world. Mr. Garneau actually first ran for Parliament, didn't win, but ran for Parliament in 2006 under my old boss, Paul Martin. So that's how I heard the news, and you know, it rippled through the cafe we were in, and people were, you know, you could just feel like people immediately reacting with a sense of sadness, because I think his, you know, fundamental decency and dignity was present in all aspects of his life, whether it was as an astronaut or an accomplished politician. And so you could really feel people recognizing the loss.
We've heard some really beautiful emotional tributes from people like Chris Hadfield, Dave Williams, and others. How do you think the average Canadian is going to remember his legacy?
I think first and foremost as, you know, as an astronaut, as a pioneer. I mean, he was our Neil Armstrong. He was Canada's first man in space. And so I think that's what's going to place his name on schools and other tributes across the country. But he wasn't a one-trick pony. He really was determined to get into public life and to apply all of his talents in one field into another. And again, I mean, it ended at the pinnacle. He actually ran for Liberal leader at one point, so aspired to be prime minister. The pinnacle of his career as foreign affairs minister in 2021, I think that was the position that he truly felt most comfortable in. I think it fit him like a glove as well, because he was such a dignified, decent, thoughtful person, the opposite of what we see in so much of our politics these days, which is so toxic and so confrontational. He was anything but. And because of his history as a hero, a bona fide hero, he was able to command an authority and respect from those that he worked with and those that he worked against. That's rare to come across in politics.
And I do think it is really inspiring for the next generation to see what he did throughout his career, and even just to hear from you about who he was as a human being. Because as you say, Scott, I think sometimes we forget they're not just politicians. They're not just, you know, the people you see on TV. They're actual human beings. They have families. They have lives.
No question about it. And, you know, you talked about the next generation, thinking about examples to look toward. You couldn't do much better. I mean, just think about the fields in which he achieved significant accomplishments. You know, we have, you know, he's the first person in space from Canada, multiple space missions, over 600 hours logged in space, becomes the head of the Canada Space Agency, runs for Parliament, gets elected, serves as Minister of Transport, where he made a real and lasting impact in a whole variety of ways, ends up as Foreign Affairs Minister. And that's really boxing the compass when it comes to serving the public and serving the country.
Thanks so much, Scott.
Thank you.